What is going on, everybody? Hitmon Channel here, back again with another Pokemon trading card game online video. Today we're taking a look at Temporal Forces decks. Finally, Temporal Forces is here. I just got back from Vancouver Regionals, and we're going to take a look at my probably favorite deck from the new cards of this format, which is Future Box. This focuses on Miraidon and its peak acceleration attack, which I'm sure you've heard of by now, doing 40 damage and then accelerating 2 basic energies from your deck to any of your future Pokemon in play. Now we have a wide variety of attackers for this deck. Some, Iron Leaves, which can take energy from our other Pokemon, bring them to it, and then do Prism Edge for 180, but this damage gets boosted by Iron Crown EX with the Cobalt Command ability, so you're going to be doing 20 more damage for each Iron Crown you have in play. So that means, Iron Leaves can do like up to 200, 220, 240 damage even if you have a bunch of Iron Crowns in play. We also have an Iron Hands EX in here to use that Amp You Very Much attack, as well as a new Miraidon EX with the Cyber Drive. This is a really good attack because it's 220 base and it gets boosted up by the Iron Crowns. So with the help of 4 Iron Crowns and a Future Booster Energy Capsule, you're actually going to be able to one-hit KO like anything in the game, so that is pretty dang cool. Now for other support Pokemon, we have one of these Iron Treads in here, and this is just kind of a counter attacker. Its dual core ability lets you make this Iron Treads be a fighting type and a metal type, which means that it can hit Chien-Pao for weakness and Iron Hands for weakness as well. And Wheel Pass does 60 and moves in energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon, so you can like return KO with Chien-Pao, and then it can conserve some of your energy, which is probably your most precious resource in this deck. And in terms of other Pokemon, we're rocking a Mew EX and we're rocking a Squawkabilly EX just for some support and draw power. The rest of the list is pretty simple, so I'm not going to keep yapping any longer. We're going to hop right into the video and get some dubs with Future Box.
Just want to give a quick thank you to the sponsor of the channel, PTCGL Store. If you need codes, you know where to go. Head over to ptcgostore.com and use code HITMON to get 5% off your order. You get a good product for a good price and you help out the channel as well. So thank you to the sponsor for supporting me, and thanks to you for supporting me too. And now we'll get right back into the video.
Our opponent is calling the coin flip. They chose heads, so naturally, tails never fails, except they didn't fail. So there is their victory in the coin flip. They're going to go first, thankfully. We really need to go second with this deck in order to make the most of Miraidon's peak acceleration. And from here, we're going to start with a pretty solid hand overall. I think I'll lead with the hands, personally. Yeah, because I'm going to want this Crown to have an EXP share. They got a Pidgey, which means that they can, that they can go for whatever they need to go for. I don't know what that means, but I'm kind of thinking this is going to be a Charizard deck. And, Charizard can be a challenging matchup, but we do have Iron Leaves to help us out here. So thankfully that Iron Leaves is going to be able to kind of just one-shot those Charizards back-to-back. And then if they put a Radzard into play, we can return KO with another single prizer, or we can use something like Iron Crown in this matchup to knock out Pidgeys when they're really small, only 50 HP. It's an important thing to note as well. If they got the Charmanders down, so we'll see what exactly we can work with. They're just going to pass it on over. Okay, that's interesting here. We'll drop the Crown in a second. I want a Nest Ball first. We got Miraidon, which is really, really good. We prized our little wheel guy. That's okay. Squawkabilly might be necessary later on. We have a bunch of E-Switch, and then the Reboot Pod is kind of the only other card we're looking for. Energy counts aren't like anything wild, so we'll just drop this Miraidon, and I'll throw the Crown here. We'll attach to this Miraidon, put the Future Booster, because we're KOing this Pidgey anyway, and just go for big research. We don't really want to waste anything else here. Now this is a little bit tough, but we can put this EXP share on this guy, and actually we can throw... Do we want to put this Miraidon down is the question, because they can get Rare Candy Zard Counter Catcher on this Crown and then be ahead of us, or be take out this, take out this hands here. But I'm thinking we'll definitely retreat, go into this guy. We're doing enough to KO here. Maybe what I want to do is I want to EXP share this Miraidon. That could be a possibility, and then try and get a Leaves. Maybe that's actually the play. So let's put an EXP share on the Miraidon. Yeah, I think that might be the goal here. Then we peak acceleration, so we're taking the knockout, and we go for a... Yeah, we could just go for double Lightning in all honesty. The Psychic... Yeah, we'll put the Lightning and the Psychic in play. The Lightning and the Psychic can go right over here. Now next turn, if they don't KO us, we need to find our Switch Cart. But I wanted to throw the EXP share there because... if, like I said, they opt to knock out something like this hands, because it's very possible they just need 3 cards to do it. Or actually 4 cards, but 7-card hand. They can play Arven, they can play Rotom, they can get some other stuff going. There's a Radzard coming down. There's the Arven, so they have some stuff happening for them. And then, yeah, if they opt to take out this Iron Hands here, we can go for, like, conserve one of these energies and then attach, go for a... What's the card? Iron Leaves. And then Iron Leaves is going to save us. But they're going for the Nest Ball. The Nest Ball is going to net them probably a Rotom. I think they're going to take another turn off here to set up their board a little bit more. Again, them losing the Pidgey is pretty bad. And there, yeah, there's the Rotom. They're just going to try and draw a bunch. Thankfully, we do have the Iono, so the Iono is going to bring that hand size right back down. And yeah, I'm fully expecting this instant charge to come through here. They're going to attach to the Radzard, which I think is a pretty solid option, because then they can just smack something with a Radzard, even if we've only taken a couple prizes. And here's the instant charge. So that hand of 8 cards is going to be going down to 6 because of our Iono in hand. Another grass energy that we need to preserve. I think I will throw this on the Iron Hands here. And now we'll just go for the Iono. We could have put the Iron Treads down as a possible response to the Radiant Charizard or to one-hit KO the Rotom, but I think I'm kind of okay with how things are looking right now. We'll go for the Nest Ball. Nest Ball can grab us Mew. Then I think I want the Techno Radar. You know, we're doing 60. I want this Techno Radar to come through. We get rid of this Lightning is fine. I want it to grab us a Crown and maybe Double Crown or maybe even Big Miraidon, because Big Miraidon is going to allow us to kind of almost one-shot these Zards. We're not going to be able to quite one-shot a Zard, but we can one-shot it and then like twin shottles it after, or amp it for 3, which could be, I mean, it could be a challenge. I don't know if I want this Miraidon just yet. Maybe we get another Crown down. It's really tough to say. Nah, maybe we'll put the Miraidon in play. Or we can even get the Treads, because the Treads can knock out Rotom in one shot. Yeah, maybe we get the Treads here. Do we have Metal Energy in the deck? We do. Okay, we'll get the Treads here. That's fine. We still leave a single spot open for our good pal Iron Leaves. Techno Radar here is fine. We literally just want a peak acceleration, so we want to make sure we get this KO on the Charmander. And I just want to do this. Put a Metal over here and a Grass on the hands. Now, the reason I want to do this is because we can literally save all the Grass energy with Techno Radar in hand to one-hit KO our opponent's Charizard if they choose to play it. Then all we literally need to do is go for a boss KO with the Iron Treads, because Dual Core makes us fighting type, and as long as we put that future booster Capsule on it, we just boss up the Rotom and literally just KO it. Like, it's pretty free from there. They're getting a Pidgey down, another Buddy PAF, and potentially going for a third turn of setup, which is pretty tough for them. They did just get their entire hand swished away to the bottom. And here would be a good point to go for the Twin Shuttles, but they got rid of the Rotom, which is actually pretty bad for us. I think we might want to get rid of the Treads here. Yeah, we got to get rid of the Treads. That's a bit annoying because now we don't have any room to go for an Iron Leaves, but they do have the Zard, so they can Zard. We can conserve these energies even if they have a counter catcher. They haven't played a supporter yet, though. Them getting that Collapse was really, really clutch. In order to kind of remove a win con of ours, but that's okay because we literally just need to Leaves. Then we can go, you know, for an attack on like the Pidgeot or something. We can just go Leaves Boss or something along those lines. We can also use Counter Catcher if they kind of poke our guys a little too much for our liking. But here's the Infernal Rain. They're gonna be very likely swinging with the Zard here. There's a boss as well, and the boss, I'm putting money, is taking the hands. But they're actually gonna get the Mew. Now that's a really interesting call, because I'm not gonna Iono, I'm literally just gonna grab an Iron Leaves, and the Iron Leaves is gonna come through and just destroy this Charizard immediately. And then at that point, we just need to go for the Amp, and then we're kind of good, because they can respond with the, you know, the Radzard, but then we just amp the Radzard and we win the game. So again, an interesting choice for them to go for here. But I think I kind of already have my game plan set in stone. No energy on that Mew, so no EXP shares proccing, but that's okay. They're taking 2 prizes. We're already so far ahead of them, so we can leave with the hands. And I'm thinking right now the best line of action, there's a future boost there, which could have been a little clutch for us, but I don't know if I need it right now. Yeah, maybe we actually get rid of this future booster. And then we can get leaves, and we can also bring the crown. Yeah, because the crown will help us keep this amps damage high. So we'll get leaves, we'll get a crown in play. And leaves can come down. We can use a Rapid Vernier, and Rapid Vernier is going to net us a bunch of these energy cards, namely 1, 2, and I can attach for turn. I can attach the grass for turn, because then if they knock this out, or I can attach the psychic for turn, I should say. Or the lightning for turn. I can attach a lot for turn, to be honest. I want to keep the lightning though. I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I might as well take the grass from this guy, because Prism Edge is taking the knockout here. Then I'll attach the lightning, and I don't even want to Iono. I just want a Prism Edge, because if they respond with the Radzard here, we have the other crown, which will boost our damage enough to just KO this, you know, Radzard. And then we will be able to win the game. We also got an Energy Switch, which can let us power this hands up after we get some EXP share, preservation, I should say. Now, the only thing that could be bad here is if they boss up this hands. That could be a little bit of a challenge, but then we can go for a Twin Shottles play, and then we can get this Pidgey out of contention, and that might be okay. They're putting the Charizard back, so I'm curious to see what they get. They're going for the Iono play. Again, that's fine. I'm not really like super concerned, because we literally just need an energy or an E-switch. We got a Pokégear as well off the top. So they could counter catcher, get rid of this hands, which would be bad. There's a Nest Ball, which I'm guessing might get another Pidgey or another Charmander down. Could get a second Rotom. A lot of lists are playing second Rotom right now, so could get the other Rotom to help them put a 4 Seal Stone in play, but they opted not to do that. So they're just gonna whiff that, and I'm expecting this Combustion Blast, and that's gonna be the game. We get to preserve all these energies with our EXP share. There's the other one. And we just go in with Ampy very much, because we're doing 120, 140, 160, 180. And we'll go and be ready to finish off this game. We attach our energy and amp you very much. You're done. And that is going to secure us the last 2 prizes. It came a little bit down to the wire there, but I think Charizard's biggest weakness right now is not being able to get Rotom to kind of stick on the field early on, because you actually can't get it off VIP pass. So I think Pidgerzard gets a little bit worse after rotation, because as you saw right here, they were turned behind with the Rotom, and then we were just able to Iono them and continuously disrupt their hand. Our opponent is calling the coin flip. They called heads, so tails never fails, naturally. And we're gonna take a look and see. We got tails, thankfully, so we are gonna opt to go second here. We do not wanna go first. We just wanna get that peak acceleration on the first turn of the game, start powering our guys up, and then we can go from there. Now, we got a really solid first turn hand. We can lead with this Miraidon here, and just kind of see what our opponent's playing. It's Giratina VSTAR, so, or it could be Giratina VSTAR, or it could be Arctina. Judging by the arc sleeves, it could be Arctina, but if they're attaching, they're passing, and that's really strong for us here. We just want to go maximum overdrive, so I think the start of our turn is going to just be Techno Radar. We'll get Crown, we'll power up, maybe this Miraidon. Again, we're not in any immediate threat, to be honest, so we could actually opt to go for a hands here, and then we can peak acceleration into hands, which I kind of like that play. So we'll throw these guys onto the bench, attach, we'll even throw the booster on here, and we can immediately just research his hand away. We're gonna go turbo. Mew is actually pretty fine to put into play, as I like this EXP share as well. We can put the Mew down, and right now we can't do much else. Peak acceleration for 100 is like literally all we need, so we can peak accelerate that guy, and then put a lightning and a lightning on the hands, I think is fine. Actually, maybe I should have done lightning and grass, because then we just needed to get, you know, in the case they don't find anything else, we just need to get a Virizion to win, or 9 leaves. But actually, in the same time, we are going to be able to just amp, or to be arm press, I should say, to beat this Giratina. They do get a Colress, which does mean this is Lost Tina, so we should have a little bit of a game going here. They might start Abyss Seeking again, which could provide us an incredible opportunity to continue powering up our board with peak acceleration. They're getting rid of a Comfy and a V-Star, which definitely means they have a bunch of cards in hand they can start playing. There's a Jet Energy, so that Comfy is going to start flower selecting. We can amp it, but I don't know if I would want to just yet. I might actually want to continue going for peak acceleration. We're going to be able to KO this Comfey regardless. They did get rid of a Psychic Energy. They're going to retreat back into the Tina, and it might be a kind of abyss-seeking angle. It is, which means that we can kind of just destroy this Tina a little bit here. This is pretty bad for them, if I'm being completely honest. I might like to go for an Iono play, but in all honesty, maybe a research play is better. We get a Metal Energy once more. I think I'd like to keep this Psychic Energy in play by putting it on the Iron Hands here. Yeah, I think that's probably the best. Now, what I would like to do is just research. I don't want to burn that Pokégear. I did get the other Iron Crown, which is what I was looking for, because that will let us KO this Tina VSTAR, and I can throw that down. Another good thing that we can do is we can use Energy Switch to use Lost Impact on a Tina in order to win the game at the end of the game. But we'll just peak acceleration, get that KO on the Tina, and from here, I actually would like to put 2 grass into play, maybe use an Iron Leaves combo, or maybe a grass and a Psychic. Nah, I think it's got to be a double grass angle here. We could put 2 grass into play. I'll throw 1 on this crown and 1 on the hands, I think, because that way if they KO any of these 2 Pokemon, somehow, I doubt they could unless they're playing like Thornton or something, then we are going to be able to E-switch it off and then go for a Iron Leaves play. But yeah, this is their hand right now. Another key thing is I want to stay out of Roxanne range right now. I don't really want to go to 3. I'd rather just go for a 2-2-2, which we can very easily do with Iron Hands, fully powered up on the bench. There's a Nest Ball, which means to me they're going to get a Radiant Greninja, draw more cards, get more established Pokemon. There's a second Colress they got, so they're going to be able to churn through their deck faster and faster and faster. And right now, they are currently at 7 in the loss zone already, so it could have been possible for them to get a Tina VSTAR in play, but they're going for Mirage Gate, and them putting the Ninja in play could be tough. Psychic and Grass, I'm expecting them to have a Thornton in this deck, if that's what they're doing to this Greninja. I'm expecting a Thornton. Oh, an Iron Leaves! Okay, the Iron Leaves coming up, a little bit of a nuisance, I think, because they can power that guy up, KO this Miraidon. They can actually counter Catcher, but they won't be able to KO anything else except the Mew EX, which again could be a possible angle for them. Because that limits our ability to use Lost Impact. There's a Concealed Cards, which I personally would have done before going for the Rapid Vernier. There's a Nest Ball getting a Tina in play as well. And now I think, yeah, I help the counter catcher on the Mew. That makes a lot of sense. Good play from my opponent. I actually think that was a very, very strong motive. There's a Seal Stone coming down and a Prism Edge for the knockout. Now that's pretty interesting because that means that they're actually going to opt out of using Star Requiem, which makes sense. They might not need to, but I think an Iono here is going to be really strong on our opponent. Now, okay, what am I going to do here? Let's start with the Nest Ball. Nest Ball can net me. Iron Treads could be decent, but I'm not sure if it's necessarily a Pokemon I want to put into play. It's got 130, it can survive a Cram hit. Maybe I opt for this Miraidon because I will be able to knock out a Tina VSTAR with it. I think that's kind of what I'm looking to do here. So I'll put this guy in play. Now we'll go for a arm press on this Iron Leaves. That's 160, 180, 200. That's 220. We'll go for the arm press here. I could have gone for the Leaves, but I'm not sure if I would have liked that the most. Again, I'll throw an EXP share down. And I can go for an Energy Switch, getting this Metal off of this Miraidon potentially, or I don't know. Oh, this is tough. Actually, maybe the Psychic is a decent play to get off of the Iron Hands because I'm not getting, well, because unless, hold on, because this is 120, 140, 160, 180. Yeah, I don't have enough room. So I'll get the Psychic off. I'll put it onto this Miraidon. Then I'll go Techno Radar. I'm going to thin a little bit, get this out of here. The Iron Treads could be useful, to be honest, but we'll put it to the bottom for now because we're going to go for an Iono play. I can throw the Psychic on this Miraidon, and then we'll just Iono them here. Yeah, that could be good because then we just need to boss the Tina to win. And yeah, not like the worst hand ever. We could peak acceleration one more time, but I think just going for the arm press KO is fine here because we preserve our energies pretty easily anyway. We have 2 energy switch left in the deck, which means that we're going to be able to power up this Miraidon and just KO the Tina. Yeah, 2 energy switch left. Another Iron Crown and Future Booster is really good too, because now we can preserve these energies, and yeah, then we're literally just going to need to get a energy switch. Even at this point, if they don't get a Tina VSTAR and knock out this Iron Hands, we are going to be able to just kind of survive by throwing this Miraidon in its face, as long as we can find either our energy switch or our Reboot Pod. So I think the play here, what it's going to be after this Hands gets knocked out, is we're going to keep 1 Lightning, put 1 Lightning in the discard pile, and then we're going to just go for that big Cyber Drive attack. Now, alternatively, they could be thinking, all right, he's played 2 E-Switch, maybe he doesn't have any more, and then he can't knock this Comfy out, but there's a Tina V-Star, so our Cyber Drive is going to have to pull through here and knock out. They're going for the Force Seal, which means no Star Requiem, which means our EXP shares will trigger. Them using a VAC is a little annoying. Getting rid of an EXP share, that's why it's important we have 2 in play here. Because then it just needs a E-Switch or Reboot Pod is going to be the best way. They're getting rid of the Future Booster, which is kind of tough. Plus the Roxanne here is a bit interesting. We could guarantee the game. Oh, we almost guaranteed the game here. There's a Nest Ball. They need to get themselves an energy plus something else here. They do have Sableye, though. Sableye is a bit interesting. They're going for another Comfy, which means they have a switch in hand. Okay, this could be tough. We could get research off the top. Again, us not having access to Mew could be pretty bad, but they'll still likely need to take 3 attacks in order to be able to knock out our a 2-prizer here. And that should be enough to close things up. Hopefully, again, it's always tough against Tina because Roxanne is just Roxanne and it's hard to come back from that. But with the double EXP shares, we might be able to still pull through. There's a concealed cards, which means I think they're down on their luck a little bit, needing to find a little bit more. I 100% can see them going for a Lost Mine. That risks losing them the game, though. I personally would have retreated into Tina and I just hope I didn't have it, to be honest. There's another Buddy Poffin just to thin it out of the hand. And now all we need to do is find a way to amp or KO this Tina, which we should readily have no matter what they put in the active. We'll just see what they do. They're going to pass, which means we just need an energy to win. Reboot Pod guarantees that. Awesome. We can Reboot Pod, put the Metal Energy right onto this Iron Hands, and then we just amp very much. Thank you very much, game. And then we just destroyed them. Yeah. See, Future is one of those archetypes that I think has a lot of potential, but it is really tough to start getting that momentum. See, our opponent literally just attached Pass, and that's why we were able to put so many energy into play. But having the E-Switch really does help out here, so I am happy with this list. We get to call a coin flip. Tails never fails, is what I always say. So we're going to go right ahead and get Tails, which is awesome. And this is going to let us go second. This deck is a going second deck. In my experience anyway, you really don't want to get stuck without any energy on the board. You want to, be able to use that research and use a bunch of these other cards. So, for example, we'll start with the Mew here, which is a really good starter. And we have a Heavy Ball to search out if we have Squawkabilly Prize or something like that. Iron Hands, Iron Leaves, we got a lot of good stuff going on. Now, if I was going first here, I would literally Heavy Ball, pass, right? Because I don't have any other way to search energies, barely a way to search out a Pokemon, but in this case, we're going to be able to drop that big research, and we want to get that turn 1 Miraidon attack. There's a Beldum from our opponent, which tells me this is a Dialga V-Star deck, which is a surprisingly threatening deck now with the introduction of Beldum and Metang. There's the Hisuian Basculin, which is going to let them search out for 2 more Pokemon with Gather the Crew if they, are able to get an attack off next turn. They'll attach to this Beldum, and I'm guessing it's just going to be a pass from them. So now we're going to get to take a look to see what we got. The Techno Radar is a really huge top deck, but we'll Heavy Ball first. And we got the Iron Leaves, Iron Crown. Reboot Pod being prized can be a bit of an issue, but I think what we want to do here is we'll leave the Iron Leaves and we'll grab the Iron Crown. And the reason I want to do this is I'm not actually going to bench this Iron Leaves here. I'll bench the Crown. I'll bench the hands. We'll go for a Techno Radar, get rid of this Energy Switch, and now we'll get a Crown, we'll get a Miraidon. Now we just gotta find an energy so we can knock out this Beldum and power up our Iron Hands here. So I'll attach this to the Miraidon's already doing 80 damage, so we don't really need to put it on here. I'll throw it on the hands in case we need to go for a little bit of a bigger Ampy very much on something. I think that should be fine. Or do I want to, yeah, I'll put that on there. And we'll start with a restart. Maybe we'll get an additional card. Energy is exactly what we want, so we'll throw that on here for the peak acceleration, and then we'll just research this hand away. Pretty decent overall. We don't necessarily need too much here. I could see myself going Nest Ball to get a Iron Treads and go for a Wheel Pass, but I don't know if I necessarily want that just yet. We could do a Squawkabilly, but I don't want to leave that liability on board. Here, let's burn the Nest Ball. Like, they don't have a Dialga down. Yeah, this should be completely fine. We'll retreat into this Miraidon here. We're doing 80 damage, and I'm completely fine with this. So we'll go for peak acceleration, and that can net us a KO, and we can also put a Lightning, and we'll also throw a Grass on this Iron Hands as well. So now this is kind of what I'm talking about, right? If we didn't have the Energy Switch in this deck, we would not be able to get ourselves, you know, an Ampy very much this next turn. We only have 2 energy on the board. They're likely not knocking this Miraidon out. They're probably going to take another turn off and use Gather the Crew, which is fine with me. Or they could go for a TM Evo play here, which could be interesting as well. They can get some more Matangs in play. But I am pretty happy of just being able to amp this next Pokemon. Hopefully just do through a big research, get a bunch of EXP shares down, and then we can use Energy Switch later on to get stuff going. Now, a really cool part about this matchup is with enough EXP shares and Energy Switches in play, we can actually power up Mew's Genome Hacking. Because we don't have a VSTAR power, we can actually use Star Chronos against this Dialga and then take another turn after. So that's really important for this matchup because our guys are pretty squishy. We have 220 HP, you know, 180 on the Mew, 230 on the hands is pretty low, and we can get pretty screwed over by that Star Chronos. So we can look at Mew as an option for this matchup as well. Very good attacker into the likes of like Giratina, Dialga, as I said, and basically anything that has a strong attack that just does a lot of damage, we can just use Mew with this version of the deck. So we're gonna wait and see here what exactly we are looking at. I could go for another peak acceleration at this point, but I'm not sure if that's the right call. An EXP share is really good. I want to throw that on this Mew, I think, right now. And we'll start with the Nest Ball here. We'll see what we can get. I think I'll save this Miraidon for a little bit later. Maybe I'll grab the Iron Crown here just to thin it out of the deck. It could be another, you know, peak acceleration type of wave at this point. Like maybe we boss up a Beldum and go for it. I think that's probably a good call. And then we can actually throw this Miraidon down, and that's going to be doing 220, 240, 260. Once this gets knocked out, we can do 280, knock up the Dialga. Okay, so I'm kind of rocking with that a little bit more, actually. We literally just want to boss up a Beldum here. We'll go for another peak acceleration. I'll attach this Grass to the Iron Hands. Yeah, just peak acceleration, KO this Beldum. And we can then get a Psychic Energy, and we can also get a Lightning Energy. Or maybe Grass. Psychic and Lightning, because I'm kind of thinking about maybe going for this Twin Shottles attack to get this Basculin out of here maybe at some point. But right now we don't necessarily need that. So I'll do this. I'll start powering this Miraidon up. And then, yeah, we can just get another prize card. Even the Reboot Pod would be really good to grab here, just so we can have it in our back pocket. The EXP share is also perfect, though. That's kind of what we were looking for. Now they're going for the Dialga play. So the Dialga here is going to be a bit interesting. They're going to need to hit like 3 energy off of a Matang in order to actually get a KO here. They're going for the Iono, which could be a bit of a pain for us later on, but we still have 4 cards to work with here. Not too bad to get the research off the top, which is pretty good. There's the Matang, so they gotta hit 3 energy off this Matang, and then they can start Chronos us. But in doing so, they're gonna help us power up our Mew, then we can start Chronos them in return, and probably take 3 prizes with the Ampy very much after we hit them with the Star Chronos. So I'm kind of happy with that. They're gonna do some more thinning. Something to keep in mind here is they could use the Hisuian Basculegion to shuffle all this energy back into the deck, but they're going to go for a Radiant Greninja play, and the Radiant Greninja is pretty interesting. Obviously, you just draw more cards, but you're getting rid of energies. You're putting them in the discard pile, potentially drawing into more energy, so it could be a little bit rough. Our opponent's Metal making right now. They're going to hit 0 energy, which is really good for us. Our opponent can knock out this Miraidon here, but we do get the EXP share onto this Mew. So I'm hoping we can actually go for a Star Chronos ourselves here. That would be really, really sweet if we're able to pull that off. But let's just see what exactly we're working with here. I think I'll attach to the Mew, because worst case scenario, I can Cyber Drive. I'll throw an EXP share onto probably the Miraidon. The Crown's okay. Now I'll Techno Radar here. I just want to get rid of some stuff, and I'll get the other Iron Crown. That's pretty much all I need. We'll throw this down. We can Mew and get 2 more cards. No Energy Switch, but we'll thin with the Pokégear. I don't foresee us needing Colress. We're only down 1 E-Switch, so we should theoretically hit it here. I'm really hoping we do. We didn't hit it. Oh no, that's so bad. Okay, we can go ahead. Oh, I risked it for the biscuit and it didn't work. We'll use this here. We can get both of these guys out. Oh my gosh, we had 3 E-Switch in the deck. We didn't hit 1 of them. Oh, I'm so mad. Okay, we'll do this. We'll just kind of pike away some of our cards here. I don't think we'll need this Iron Treads. Oh man, I'm so disappointed. Because now we can go for a Repulsor Bolt anyway. So we'll do 120. Amp You Very Much is going to be able to do 140, 160, 180, 200. So we'll still be able to knock this out with Amp You Very Much next turn. Or we can Star Chronos, and then we can boss something else up, and then use something like Arm Press if we're able to find an Energy Switch. There's the Metal Maker, so they should be getting some more energies in play here, which I'm a little disappointed about, not gonna lie. This could be the turning point. They got 1 in play, so thankfully no Star Chronos this turn. Again, that's the thing. I think we made the right play bossing that Beldum up, because it really limits their ability to power up the Star Chronos. And they can, if they find their other energy card to attach, they can attach that. That's going to be enough to KO this Miraidon here, and that'll guarantee us the Star Chronos. So I'm not super upset about that at all, because then we can just Star Chronos them and then go from there. Maybe find our other boss or something like that and just kind of go crazy. And if they KO this Miraidon, Counter Catch would be online, but it's not like we really want to use that. But we could Counter Catcher up this Greninja, get rid of a Beldum and a Hisuian Basculin as well. It's another option. They're going for the boss though, bossing the Mew. Okay, they're smart. They had the boss. Our Mew is gone, but that does mean we're going to be able to Amp You Very Much, as long as we can find an energy card, or we can Cyber Drive and KO this Dialga. But I think an Amp is a little more good to have here. We'll lead with the Iron Hands as well, and we can put the Iron Crown into play. There's a future booster, yeah, so we'll be able to amp and get a KO. We'll throw the Crown down, put this guy over here. We can Counter Catcher, not really needed, an Iono for them to 3, and if we can take this Dialga out, we should kind of lock up the game here. We got the Energy Switch, thankfully, and now we'll just Energy Switch and put, I'm thinking, yeah, just from this Crown onto this Hands. This should get us Reboot Pod in theory. This Amp You Very Much is going to do 220, which is insane, and knock out this Origin Form Dialga, netting us 3 whole prize cards. And now from here, it's really just, we gotta get anything. We got an energy, that's good. Even the Iron Leaves can come through, but this Dialga for them is gonna have to really put in the work. We can KO this right out the gate, and then we can KO this with Cyber Drive as well. If they even evolve it but don't get an attack off, for example, we can just go through, and Cyber Drive is going to be doing a whopping 320 at this point, and we can just immediately blow it up. So they got the double Metal Maker, they got the Ultra Ball here. They can theoretically get a Star Chronos off, but the Star Chronos won't KO the Iron Hands. So then they'll have to spend another turn hitting into it again with like 1 card in hand. So I think we should have it locked up here, but we'll see what they do. Now, our opponent opted to grab the Mew EX, which I find kind of interesting. I'm not quite sure why, but I guess they just want to draw more cards. Maybe they need something like a Super Rod. Maybe they have, like, a Dialga prized, or I don't know. I kind of would have preferred to see them go for the Dialga, but again, if they can Mew into 3 cards and one of them's a supporter, they can play a supporter, like, churn through their deck a little bit more, but they're going for the Metal Maker so they can make some metal. They're selecting some cards. They got nothing off the Metal Maker. Now they can get 4 off this one, evolve, and still Chronos us. It's possible. And they're moving attached cards. They got 1. That's it. Okay. They're gonna scoop. Yeah, we just kind of like checkmated them there. That 3 prize cards off the Amp You Very Much is really, really strong. And yeah, we just got, you know, we got to do this. So what do you think of my future box deck list? This deck is a ton of fun to play. It has angles and ways you can basically destroy any meta deck, but it has a little bit of consistency issues. You're not really playing a draw engine other than Mew EX, and your bench space is very, very tight. So it could be a bit of a challenge to kind of maneuver against those late game Ionos, those Roxannes, and all that kind of stuff, which is why we play a heavy support account, why we play the Pokégear, and all that stuff. Now, I actually think that my list, I mean, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I do think that it's actually a very good starting point and a very good way to play the deck so far. If you don't want to play like straight future hands, that deck I don't think is as good because, you know, you kind of have a hard time dealing with decks like Arctina, dealing with decks like Charizard once they evolve. It gets really tough to be able to counter those big Pokemon, where this deck kind of has the tools. You have that Miraidon EX, you have Iron Hands to get multiple prizes, you have Iron Leaf to deal with just Charizard, Iron Crown to deal with little baby Pokemon, Iron Treads as another 1 prize attacker. You have a lot of options in this deck. Even Mew with genome hacking is really, really easy to get with, to be able to use in this deck. So, and you're not really overly reliant on that heavy baton that Iron Hands future plays because, you know, you just have EXP shares, you have energy switches, you can move those energies however you want, as long as you're like drawing half decent. Now, I feel like this deck is kind of like a B tier. If we were to rank it in meta decks, it's a B tier deck. It's like, can win against any deck. It has the potential to do so, but the chances of it happening are kind of in the middle. Really depends how your opponent draws, really depends on how you draw, and that's kind of all I've got to say. So with all that said and done, thank you so much for watching my first Temporal Forces video. I got a bunch more coming on the way, so subscribe to the channel if you want to watch more Pokemon trading card game content, multiple videos every single week. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and yeah, comment down below. What do you think of this deck? What do you like? What do you dislike? What did you keep? And what would you change about it? And yeah, until next time, once again, thank you so much for watching. Hitmonchanning out.